Hello Flosstube, my name is Laura and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see. Maybe hit like and subscribe, and please tell me what you like to stitch and what maybe you're stitching on right now, maybe when you're watching. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you taking the time out of your busy days whenever you watch to watch, even if it's just a little snippet. Thank you so much for taking that time. I appreciate getting a chance to talk cross stitch with you. So thank you. I don't have a lot of like preamble-y stuff to say today, so we'll probably just jump right in. I have two finishes, which I actually have them at the beginning, which is a surprise because normally I would put most of that kind of stuff just mixed all in. My start is mixed in near the end. I don't really designate between all the different things, but I was just putting all this stuff together and I said, why not? So I've got two finishes this week. And as I'm doing this and I'm talking about them, I want to talk to you about Charlie, Stitching with Charlie. She has a wonderful floss tube. She's a fairly new floss tuber. My first finish is Summer Refreshes, by the way, and this is Summer House Stitch Works. Now, I show you this, normally like with the finish, I wouldn't, right? But I didn't do this. I am stitching all four of them monochromatically with the same color floss, but different fabric. I finished spring not that long ago, sometime this year, and now I've just finished summer. And I think, is today officially the first day of summer? I think it might be. So look at that. Summer Refreshes I'm showing to you on the first day. So getting back to Charlie, she had a video on Tuesday, and this was by accident. The two finishes I actually think I did over the weekend. And I was watching Charlie on Tuesday, and she is doing a just finish it June and July, but I think the hashtag is just finish June and July, I think. And the idea is to try to get some of your projects finished in the months of June and July. And I thought, well, perfect. I've got a couple to show you. This one is done on an 18 count lemon from Bestitchme. And I am using floche, which is a DMC. Let me show you if you are new to floche. I've shown it many times, but if you're new here, you may not have seen it before. It's a one-stranded, thicker kind of cotton floss. And so I use one strand on the 18 count. That's the only time I use one. Well, I don't know what I would do with sulky because that would be in between. But with DMC or variegated flosses, all of that, I always use two strands. This, I do one. And just did it completely monochromatically, and I love it. This lemon, by the way, now 18 count, I don't know about the other counts, but the 18 count lemon is delicious. It's the only way I can say it. So that's what it looks like. So this will be my first kind of official finish for Charlie's just finished June and July. And so I have, let me show you. So I've done spring. And I just put them all in here. Where's autumn? Here's autumn. This is autumn. This one's in a plastic. The other ones I have are not in plastic. But there we go. So that's what it looks like. Again, I'll use the 319, the green. And my guess is maybe I'll try to find something along this color for fabric. I haven't chosen the fabric for autumn or winter yet. Winter, my guess is probably going to be some shade of blue. I know you're shocked by that, right? All right, let me leave this out of the bag. Put this over here and leave the other stuff in the bag. So yeah, so as soon as I find what fabric I want, then I can get going on that one. I really have enjoyed working on the first two. They are really lovely to stitch, and monochromatically, it's one of those. I actually used it for I Spy. Where's my I Spy? Something that brings you piece to stitch. And I find monochromatic pieces generally pretty relaxing, peaceful, however you want to say it, because it's just the one color. And so you finish one strand, you just pick up another one and you just keep going. So that one definitely qualifies as kind of like a peaceful stitch. So you will see, I'm not trying to get them finished before the season because they're going in the scrapbook. It's going to be a 4-part collection, but it's just been fun, to be honest with you. So I will, maybe not June, we'll see. Maybe in July I'll start it. Okay, my other finish was kind of a surprise. I was working on finishing summer. I was trying to do like 100 stitches a day just to get it done. And that kind of got me to the point where I was able to finish it. This one, on the other hand, I just didn't realize how close I was to a finish. I pulled it out for, we would have had Halloween stitching, I think. Yeah, so Friday the 13th was my last video, right? And so I hadn't done any stitching. I never stitch before my videos because I usually try to film first. Well, first thing in the morning is a relative term. It's 9 something. So it's not technically first thing, but it's before I'm doing any stitching. So I hadn't done anything yet. So I pulled this one out because I was like, okay, this one's pretty close. This is Halloween. It's called Halloween Quaker from the Heart, Needleart by Wendy. And I said, let's see what I can get done on it and see how close I am. And I finished it. So let me show you. This is what it looks like. This is done on 18 count, where is it here? Monster Mash from Color and Cotton. It was a fabric of the month back in 2020, and that was how I got it. I have long since been out of the fabric of the month from Color and Cotton. But I did make a couple changes. So it's charted in Classic Colorworks, but there's a DMC alternative. And for most of the pattern, I did do just the DMC called for. I changed up the pumpkin, so the top, you know, kind of that top of the flower, the pumpkin head. And then I also changed up these flowers because they were charted to be in just kind of, I think, the same brown that, you know, the heart and the urn and all of that were in. And I wasn't loving it. I wanted my flowers to look different and prettier. So let me show you the 2 different variegateds that I used. For the pumpkin, which I really like, and I did try to do some sort of variegation on it. I don't know if you can see it in there, but you can see it in person, how there's the different shades. I don't know if I crossed every single one on its own, but I did pretty close. And that one is Pumpkin Spice from Stitchy Stuff Co. I noticed that she was on vacation this week because I've got a few of her flosses in my wish list on Etsy, but the shop is on vacation. But really lovely, and I think that one worked really well. And then I had a couple choices for the flowers, and I ended up going with Bonfire. So let me pull this one off for a minute, from Color and Cotton. And there's one flower that you could sort of see a variegation, but I really could see, I like the color quite a bit, so I'm glad I used it. But I mean, variegated flosses for some of these small things really is kind of silly, to be honest with you. It feels, it feels a bit like, why bother, right? Because after few stitches, I mean, this one's probably 15 stitches, you may have not gotten to any variegation anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But, you know, hey, if it's fun and you like it, go for it. I just really liked that color, and I wanted to experiment with using a little bit more. I have these flosses, so let's just throw them in here and there, you know? So that was, I liked how that color also went with the other called fors. So these were fairly similar family lines, which I also liked. And so I'm really pleased with it. I've done, I can't remember what the other, I've finished at least one of Wendy's charts, and then I have a grateful one that I have to, that maybe I'll start pulling that one out next. The first one I did put in the small scrapbook, so I probably will do the same with this. I don't see putting it out somewhere. I think it'll be fun in the scrapbook. I think it's not too tall to go in the small one, so. Alrighty, so that is my second film. Actually, I'm gonna leave that one out too, because why put it back in a bag if it's gotta come out? All right, so let me just put this in here and put that down there with the chart. Okay, next. So those are the 2 finishes. I've got a bunch of just works in progress to show you, and I've got near the end the start that I did, which I'm so excited to show you. I think I'm really liking the floss color and fabric combination. I am trying to drink and drink and drink because it's very warm here. Alrighty, so the next one I pulled out was it's Carolyn's Balloon Spring by Jan Hicks Creates. Now, I will preface this by saying I love Jan Hicks. I love her charts. I enjoy her videos. I like the colors that she uses. I've done autumn and winter. One of them was a hard copy. I think the other one was a digital. Then I bought spring and summer as hard copies. As the seasons went on, she made the charts smaller and smaller. In fact, the last one in summer fits on one page. And while that is convenient and lovely one page, it makes the symbols so small. Even on this one, it's mostly on one page, and then there's a little bit of this side and down at the bottom on a second page. And those are all on the second page, both sides. I can't read the symbols, so you'll see the symbol in the key. Well, what you see on the actual chart doesn't match that because it's too small. So if there was any, like, say, I think one is kind of like a wagon wheel sort of look. You can't see the spaces between the spokes of the wheel because it's so tiny. Luckily, I think they're all kind of shaped wise. So that's what I've been doing. But if you are interested in buying these, they're phenomenal and they're so fun. And I love the designs of the balloons. Buy them digital if you can, would be my recommendation. I mean, the other thing is I know some people will make a working copy, which I did so that I don't mess up the original, and blow it up. You're just going to blow up symbols that you still can't see because they're still all going to be kind of so condensed that, they've been smushed is what it's been. So if possible, I would say go with the digitals on these. I absolutely love them, and I do love Jan Hicks, but I am disappointed in how she kept making these smaller and smaller, and it's almost impossible to read. Having said that, this is what mine looks like. Because again, I'm not giving up Jan Hicks anytime soon. I love her work. I have about 5 of her projects on the go at the moment. This is 18 count car wash from Fortnight Fabrics. Fortnight Fabrics is not around anymore, but you might be able to find it on a secondary market. I do like their Ada, actually. It is nice to stitch on because I stitch in hand. I stitched autumn in this same one, and then I'm stitching summer in the same fabric that I did winter. I just kind of rotated back and forth. This next balloon, the small guy. So I've got the big one done, which is great. So now we have over here for balloons, but they are on a page break. So that will be a little bit extra work. And so I decided I wasn't in the mood for that. So I came down here and I kept working on the village. Now I messed up. Where was I? Somewhere around here, I was doing all of the greenery and I misread the chart. I confused the symbols and I had the branches going in a different way. And I thought about trying to keep it, but then it would mess up, and then where the house was and everything, I just decided I'll pull it out. So I did have to backtrack a little bit, so I didn't get quite as much done on this as I would have liked, but we're just kind of going along the side here. I do enjoy stitching the little villages. Every single one of these has a little village seasonally underneath all of the balloons, and they're all really quite lovely and fun to stitch. So that's a nice part. And then I'll pop back up here, and then there are butterflies and looks like bees that I have to stitch little ones in there as well. So I haven't gotten to those yet. One day I might just do a bunch of those rather than anything else. And that would give me counting for the other 2 balloons. But I'll keep pulling this one out. Both this one and summer, they'll be slow. I think I just have to resign myself that I get half as much stitching on these as I do other pieces because of just the challenge with the chart. But, that means it'll take longer to finish, and that's okay. Like I said, these are the way I've designed them color-wise with the fabrics. They're going to go in the scrapbook in a collection. I do like collections, especially like things like seasonal collections or things that kind of match and go together. Makes it kind of fun putting them in the scrapbook. And I don't need a million things out that tell me it's spring or summer or whatever anyway. This one is almost a finish, but not quite, because I kept hemming and hawing what I wanted to do. So this is a silent expression of art, known in my notes as Chameleon, and it is designed by Kara Brown of the Elfin Forest. Now, if you watched Karen Stitching Owl this past week and you saw her video, you would see she's finished hers. Now, she did, she took some of the flowers out. She did some flowers. I think what she did was she kind of made it kind of flatter here and arched up top, if I remember correctly. And then, so it looks wonderful. And then Charlie is also stitching this one, and she is not doing, I believe, any flowers, Charlie, right? She's just doing the Chameleon, and she's doing it to be as a magnet, and has changed all the colors using what she has in stash kind of thing. And so it looks really cool. Now, I had originally said that I was going to do flower, flower, and then I was going to bump this flower up here and have those be the only flowers. Then I was thinking, well, do I put this or this flower here? And so do a big flower and then two small and kick that one out altogether. You know, figure out color schemes, whichever color. I was really overthinking it. So I'm really not sure what I want to do. The one, let me make sure I don't, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just see, is it? Yeah, no, I still have, the only thing I have left on the Chameleon is actually the inside of these leaves. That's the only thing I have left to stitch on that part. And he needs flowers, but I'm just not sure which ones and how I want to do that. That is kind of, maybe, we'll see. If it's too much brain power this week, I might not do it. But this is where we are. This is done on an 18 count Barely Lime from Fabric Flair, which I bought from Dove Stitch. So as you can see, essentially, I mean, I almost don't even have to fill those in, and I might not, because with the green fabric, I think it actually kind of looks nice that way versus, you know, trying to throw, I'll see what the color is that's called for and see whether or not I think it'll add something. But do you see what I mean? I mean, like this here could actually, maybe this is where I'd want to put a big flower actually. And then small and small, big, small, small, possibly. Maybe I try that because this is a big empty space. So that might look good there, one of the bigger ones. And then do, I don't know, but that's my dilemma at the moment. And once we have this finished, I think I loved all of your suggestions on names. I'm stuck with 2, Carmen and Iggy. So once I get this done, I think I need help figuring out what the final name of our Chameleon will be. So more to do. You may or may not see that one finished next week. It depends really on, I know Charlie's telling me just do it, Laura, and get it finished. It depends on if I can figure out what to do. You know how sometimes you overthink it, and I'm totally overthinking that right now, to be honest with you. I'm not even sure what I'll do with it. I might make it into like just a small leaner and have it up on my shelves or something or other. It's too cute that I kind of feel like I almost do want it out all the time. Shores of Hawker Hollow. I decided to pull this one out. Why? Oh, categories. One of the letters is D. And so for, right? I'm almost sure that's why I pulled it out. Yeah, one of the letters is D. And near or in water, we have dolphins on this piece. I am still up here. I am not stitching this whole bit. And in fact, I'm not even necessarily stitching what I had, the alternative that I was showing you. I think I want to do 4 blocks. And as I was stitching this, I actually thought, well, if I do 4 blocks, so, you know, pretend this one's in half, like 1, 2, 3 and a half block here. If I do those 4, would that fit in the scrapbook? Because I really don't see putting this up anywhere or having it displayed. And luckily I measured this and it's just over 5 inches. And the second block will be right next to the first as well as down here. So it'll probably be like 10.5 by 10.5-ish. And my biggest scrapbook would be, as long as I'm under 12 inches, I'm fine. So that's at least something, because then I was like, do I do separate ones and have them? And again, overthinking. But what I did was I completely filled in the box. So that's done. And then I am still just, this water just keeps going on and on and on. I thought I got a lot accomplished. Now there's birds, seagulls most likely over here, which I think I'll do. What I might do is just do one, or I think I'd be too bored to do 3 of the blocks outlines. Ideally, that's what I would do, and then just kind of figure out which ones I want to put in those blocks from there. I don't think I'm going to use any of the other words in any of the blocks. So if I do any of the blocks with words, I will take that part out and maybe, you know, kind of mix and match from other blocks. I thought that one worked well though for the first. This is 18 count pale ale from Dying for Cross Stitch. So I have changed my mind on this so many times on how I'm stitching it and what I'm doing. I don't know what to tell you anymore. It's just going to come along as it comes along, and it'll be a bit of a surprise for all of us. Now, because it's the first day of summer, I thought I would show some of my summer kind of ornamenty type of pieces here. And so we'll start first with this one, because the other two are the same designer. This is Summer Blessings from Leela Studio. You know how you get spring and summer together in autumn and fall. So I've done all 4 of them. I finished them all with some felt on the back of the, behind, I should say, the main piece, and just a little bit of ribbon to hang them up. So let me put that one back. There we go. Seeing if I can do this. And then these two, it's Helen D Day. Helen, yes, because these are both from Helen D. So I thought that's a lot of fun. This one, I think, was from Cobweb Corner. And I think Helen had some flowers and stuff around it, if I remember correctly, but I just wanted the flamingo. And this is the first time I did a finish that was kind of round. It's a little rough in a few, I mean, obviously this is oval, but there's a couple spots where it's a little rough, but for the most part, I was pretty proud of it. And then this one was a freebie. Helen has a whole series of them for different things, and this one was the summer one. So of course I had to do that. And I think one of the first times I ever played around with variegated was on these flip-flops. Probably a Stitchy Stuff Coat, because I have a lot of those. So let me put that back. Let's see if I can get that one hanging back up again. So we're celebrating the first day of summer with some just summer hanging pieces. And I have them hanging underneath my shelves in those little hooks that I had Mo put up. All right. Oh, wow. This is the first digital piece to show you. That's unusual, because I usually have a lot more digitals than that. All right. Let's go to 2025 projects. This one was started not that long ago. So there we go. This is from Tiny Modernist, and it is the Snow White tree. So fun. I really enjoy these trees from Tiny Modernist, and I'm really happy to just play along and stitch them. Now this one I bought as digital, which Wizard of Oz I had started first. That was a paper copy, finished it, did it all paper. So when I bought Alice in Wonderland, I bought paper. These go into Pattern Keeper really, really easily. So when this one first came out, I don't know if I wanted to wait for the paper, so I bought the digital, and I'm so happy I did. Now I'm looking at this. Okay, it was the angle. I thought I'd forgotten one of the eyes off of the Woodsman. So here we are. Now, if you've ever done a Tiny Modernist tree, or I would say probably her clocks or any of them, they're so fun and vibrant, but man, you are changing colors quite a bit. And they're super cute when they're done, but there's a lot to it. So my focus this week was, I know I finished, I'm almost sure I filled in all of the greenery on this, and I filled in some eyes and things like that. And then I did, except for the axe here that he's holding, I've actually got the handle of it. I just don't have the other part of it. I ran out of steam, I think, stitching. I have the entire Woodsman finished, and I had none of him before. So if you know that's a lot of stitching. Now this is just an 18 count. It's an opal, And I don't know who it's from or what it's called, which is such a shame because it's really fun to stitch on. I did not have any more or enough of the fabric that I'm stitching Alice on that was also the Wizard of Oz piece, but I thought, okay, this is in the blue family. It's darker than the others, and it's an opal, which is what the others are on. So I just thought that'd be fun. Keep them all in the same sort of family like that, and just have fun with it. This one, I don't think it came out. I don't know. Maybe it came out for. It probably came out for one of the acrostics that I do. I do acrostics from the magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge and Crafts and Books. All of that's listed. The Facebook groups that I mentioned that I'm a part of, I do have listed that are games and challenges. Underneath in the description box, if you go below the projects, you know, and there's more stuff I list, that's where I have just an ongoing list of the 3 that I do besides my own. So I'm sure that's what this came out for, but it's also just fun to stitch. It will take me a while. I mean, I'm only on kind of that first main. I mean, okay, you've got this row, and then I may stitch the stuff to the side before I do the bottom shelving because I want to make sure I have a reference of how far it goes. But then I have 2, you know, obviously 2 more shelves, and they get longer and longer as they go. So there's still a lot of stitching to this. I don't know. I'd be lucky. I'd be lucky if I get this one halfway finished this year. I don't really have a plan because I think I started it this year, right? So there was no goal as to where it was going from there. All right, now we're on a run of digitals, I guess. This next one, I kind of auditioned it as my once every 4th week piece, and I enjoyed it, but I just don't think I can do this much house every month with it. So I pulled this one out also for the Halloween stitching. This is Samhain in Salem by Hemlock and Rye Stitchery. And I thought, okay, well, because I finished Fish and Chips, which would have been my stitch this week, let's try to get 500 stitches into this. I didn't get 500. I got about 400. So I thought, oh, that's pretty good at least. And I am not stitching the words. Now, if you do buy this, she also has it charted to say, you can have it say Halloween in Salem as well, if you didn't want it to say. I would ultimately like to just have the fence all the way across, which I think is really cool. If I knew what I was doing, I'd even do like a fence gate or something, but I'm not that good. It'll be all I can do to make sure it all lines up as is with just the gating. But that's what it looks like. And this is the house right here. That is the, oh, I can't really make it bigger, but that's the last house that I have to work on. These are no joke. These houses, they take a lot of work. So this is where the whole piece is, just so you see. And this fabric is old. It's 18 count old library marble, also from Fabric Flair that I got from Dove Stitch. And this one's been done for quite some time. I finally got this one finished, I think this year, right? So let me just fold it over here. Now, because I did something silly in my counting when I was doing this and cutting, I had to make the houses closer to each other than is charted, which is another thing. I'd have to have changed the fencing then anyway, because it's not as charted. So, you know, it is the way it is. And it looks fine though. I still have like 5 or 6, but they're very close houses, which is fine. So that's where we are right now. And I know it doesn't look like much, but I'm really pleased. I've got the whole outline of the roof, and I know exactly now where to stitch. So if I wanted to just do kind of zoom stitching, or I'm watching something and I don't want to concentrate and count kind of stitching, this would be perfect. And I've got most of the, well, 2/3 of the way here, but down here, I have the white outline of the house all the way down to the bottom. And luckily, yes, everything is counted and done right, because that's the other thing. When I'm doing it this way and I'm going off of the pattern, I get a little worried that I'm not counting right. But this is going to be really, really helpful, because then if I want to do either the windows or get some of I'd probably do some of the house first, then do windows, and then keep going. But I've made it for myself a little bit easier, I think. Now, most of this I'm using just, you know, the one color of DMC. In a couple cases, I think Julie charted. She might have charted variegated, but she did give two colors of DMC that you mix together for two-stranded. And I have been doing that wherever she gives a two-color mix. I have been using that. So that house doesn't look like much right now, but that's all right. I'm excited to get the blue in so that we have a little bit of the blue showing. And I've set myself up, I feel like, really in a really good place to, you know, kind of get some work on this one done. Will I finish this house by the end of this year? I doubt it. I really, truly doubt it. There much more stitches than you realize when until you're really into it and you're thinking, boy, this house is never going to end. But if I can get a good stretch of it, and then next year, if I just have part of the house to finish and then not procrastinate on doing all of the recharting for the fence, then I should be good to go. And that will be hopefully repetitive enough that I'll be able to get into a routine and get. So maybe by the end of 2026, that one might be finished. Halloween of 26 might be a little bit too lofty a goal, but you know, I may throw that in my goals as lofty for my next year's goals when I do them at the end of 25. And I'll have a better idea really where I am, whether or not that goal makes sense. I started this one last week, which is Strawberry Square from Ink Circles. And I decided I wanted to do a little bit more just to get a little farther on it. And I'm really pleased with what it looks like. Now, let me pull out the floss actually, so I know, because I am using a DMC variegated. I can't remember the number. Here we are. So let me show you what I've got. This is what I've got so far. This is done on an 18 count Timeworn from Mystic Fabrics. I was really inspired by the cover, and I had this fabric and I thought, you know, this one works really nicely. It's a little bit lighter, I think, than the cover fabric was, but I think it really plays nicely off of the different variegated reds. So I chose DMC 4210. And I don't know, there's a line of DMCs that are like 115, they're the smaller numbers. And then there's a line here that are the 4200s. I'm not exactly sure if those each are called something specific. It's not, I don't know if it's labeled in my book to tell me my DMC, you know, my chart, my color charts. But that's the one I chose, and I'm really pleased with it. I am getting variegation, although I'm not worrying about crossing each X singly. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but this is variegated enough that if I pull some of it, you can put it against here. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but there's quite a bit of variegation in this one. So hopefully I didn't pull it so much that I can't put it back. I'll worry about it later. But there's enough variegation in there that even just kind of sometimes just going across and back is still giving me some nice color. And I'm kind of just going where the wind takes me, and I'm not worrying about if it matches on one side or another or what it's all going to look like in the end. And I did not, I had thought in my head, ooh, I should just look at my pattern keeper and throw on my paper here just a couple of percentages. What I did with this one, so I have the paper pattern of this, but I took the time before I started stitching it. I have WinStitch on my laptop, and I did each and every X and everything into the WinStitch program, and then I was able to put it into Pattern Keeper. And then once I've stitched it, I'll delete it, and then we'll be good to go. So this way, it's been much easier for me to read it that way, and then I'm able to kind of decide how I want to stitch, or and also just know what my percentages are. So there we go. Alrighty. Was that? Oh, I don't know. That was just, I stitched that one just because I wanted to get a second week's worth of it from the start. So that one will probably, you probably won't see that now for a couple weeks, unless it comes out for some sort of challenge. But for the most part, we got other stuff we got to stitch. We've got this coming week coming up. You know, you've got, what are the dates? What's today? Today is today the 20th. So yes, so we'll have my pumpkin stitching, yeah, Christmas, yeah, there's stuff going on. So yeah, you won't see that one, at least probably not till July at the earliest. All right, next. This is my new start. I am so excited. This is Real Comfort by Modern Folk Embroidery. And I am not doing a few things. I'm not doing any of this alphabet at all. So mine is stopping right here. And then I have not decided, so I thought about doing the border, but I decided I'm not going to start with the border because I want to see what it looks like without it. It's a straight line, and we know sometimes, even if I'm scrapbooking it, sometimes the straight lines can get wiggy, right? You know, and they get a little kind of warped a bit once I put the interfacing on it. And if the interfacing just somehow or other puckers it a bit, it looks a little silly. It's fine. I mean, I don't care in the end, but it's just more work, right? Than trying to fix everything. So I'm going to wait on that. And then I don't know if I'm going to do the dates, but I might just put Jane Austen up top. Again, I left all that off, and I'm going to decide all of that at the end. So what I'm going to do is this entire piece with the words and the houses, and then go back and make, well, I'm definitely not doing that. That I know. But I'll make the other decisions then. And I'm really excited with how this looks. I really like it. This is 18 Count Bliss by Fabrics by Stephanie. It's a pink, but it definitely has slight little purpley tones to it as well. Like if I pull it back, do you kind of get that feel? And the floss I'm using, I ended up going with the Pirate and Robin Boysenberry, which kind of has a pink and a purpley vibe to it. So I thought, how perfect is that color with this fabric? So if I come up close, you can see I started in the center here, had to do some counting. I'm fine if I want to put the word Jane Austen up here. I'll still have plenty of room because, again, if it's being scrapbooked, I don't need a ton of space up here. I wouldn't, you know, sometimes I like to have a extra of the fabric showing, but I wouldn't need much above the name because really it's going to be this beautiful picture. That's the center focal piece. So I did start there and came over here, which again, I haven't cut it yet. So as you can see, that was a little bit nerve-wracking trying to figure out how I wanted to do it. But this is the edge. So you can see I'm fine edgewise with that. So there was a little bit of extra counting going on with this one, which is why I probably didn't get quite as much as I was hoping to get. Although, again, it's more than you think, right? We always think, oh, that's not really that much, but it really is more work. So really fun. I really enjoyed it. What I thought was kind of cool, if you look at the Pirate and Robin, they actually give you the die lot number. So that way you know if, say I order more Boysenberry, like I don't know how much she dies a floss at a time, right? And I don't know how fast they get sold. So how often does she have to re-dye them, right? So I'll know if it's a different lot number. And I mean, we'll see how different it is or whatever. I think I have plenty with this one, especially because I'm only stitching parts of it. So I'm not particularly worried about running out of it. But I thought that was really cool. Just noticed that this morning when I was looking at the name of it. So great little addition there. You might see this one next week. I have some plans for next week already in the works and things going on. If not, you'll see it again soon because I think I'd like to, I mean, so this is, you know, this is the amount of stitching the first time I've stitched it. And I do like to get a nice little bit, you know, to get these things going. Because then I feel like, okay, when I pick them up, I'm hitting the ground running a little bit as opposed to just having like one bird done. And then I feel like, oof, I've just got a lot to do to even start it. So, but I think I'd like to do a little bit more. So if it doesn't happen this week, maybe the week after. Okay, let me put the pattern here. I am doing this one paper, and I didn't bother, even though it is monochromatic, I didn't bother doing the whole wind stitch thing on this one because it's pretty, unlike the repetitiveness of the ink circles, this one, you know, I mean, it's pretty easy to follow the line just with the paper working copy. And it's bigger. It's a bigger chart than what the ink circles one is. So even these eyes can see it, which is always in question. All right, the next piece is my whip into shape piece. It is Christmas Town from Stitcherovia. So Whip Into Shape is the kind of training regimen that Andrew, the runner stitcher, is doing, because he is training for a marathon, and all of us are stitching that training. So we are training for a stitching marathon, I guess. And so we follow along with Andrew's miles, and you can do it. And there's a numerous number of ways people are doing that. I'm basically whatever number of miles he runs in a day, multiply that times 10. That's what I'm stitching. I am only caught up though to, let me check my book here, the 17th. So that would have been Tuesday. I haven't done any more that since. I'm not doing it every day because to pull it out for 30 or 40 stitches, for this piece, that's kind of a pain, to be honest with you, because again, like Tiny Modernist, Stitcherovia, I adore her pieces. Lots of color changes. This, I did end up, originally this was kept empty, but it just looked like I had forgotten to stitch it. So I did spend some time filling all of that in this week. And then it's hard to tell because I've done a lot of white this week. I did, though, work down here in some of the housing as well. So I'm getting there. This is 18 count white opal. And if I go a little bit over, originally I was going to say, okay, I'll save those stitches for the next week. But at this point, I'm just saying, you know what? It's just extra. I've run a little bit more. I've stitched a little bit more because my goal really is to get this one finished by the time Andrew runs his marathon. And I think, given the math, I put this one into markup, which I don't know how to use properly. So it's in there and it's helping me, but I'm not using it right. But as far as I can tell, if I do the amount of miles and continue with what Andrew's training is, I think this will be finished by, I think the marathon's the end of August. So this is my oldest open project. So if I can get this one finished, woohoo, then we start digging away at the next oldest. And so actually Samhain might be the next oldest. So you see this one every week and you will continue to, and sometimes you may not tell a difference because if I'm doing a lot of the white border, I mean, it already looks white, but it just in person looks like, okay, you haven't forgotten to stitch something now, Laura. So I think sometimes what I try to do is do some of the white to get that done. And then, okay, let's pop down and do some of the different houses and stuff. I started this with paper. And so there were a few different places up here. I have to go back and figure out symbols and stuff. There's a little bit of extra work that has to get done on that. But I'm optimistic. I have the goal to get it finished. So I think that'll work. I don't think it was at this Tuesday's video of Andrew's. I think it was the last, no, I don't know why this is zippered. I think it was the video before that where Andrew was talking about how this is kind of the part of training now where, all right, at the beginning, you're excited and you're doing, but then, you get to that point where doing stuff day after day sometimes gets a little bit boring, right? And so you just got to kind of remember what the goal is. I mean, obviously his goal is to run the marathon. My goal is to get this one finished. So I have motivation to want to keep going with it from week to week. So I think I should be able to. And here is my chart so far. Like I said, I've gotten through to the 17th. Each day's color is, so for example, we had a set of rest days. I think that was when Andrew was at StitchCon. But then we've had a couple of long runs. The 1 to 5 is the light purple, I believe, and then 6 to 10 is the blue, 11 to 15 is the green. So we'll start getting a few more colors in there as well, but it's just been so much fun and I'm enjoying doing it. And then it's fun to have the chance to kind of make a little something pretty in my book too. Alrighty. This one is normally a zoom stitch and I don't think I used it for zoom, but I know I used it for I Spy. One of the I Spy prompts this month was something purple. I Spy purple. Well, you can see that big giant butterfly in the center is purple. So how perfect is that for the prompt? This is from Doreen Jones. It is Butterflies 2. She has 3 of these patterns, and you ask me on one day when I'm feeling motivated and I'll say, I'm going to stitch all 3. And then you'll ask me on another day after I've done 400 stitches and it doesn't look like I did much. And I'll say, well, we'll think about it. I might take a couple years off and then stitch another one. So this is where it's at. This is the edge. I thought about going down here. Part of it is I don't know where to go. There's so much happening and so many different colors that I'm a little bit unsure of what I want to do when I pull this one out. I think this time I did work on more of the butterfly and probably some filling up here. The flower is completely filled in all of the colors except for down here. So I might have done some more of that as well. This is done on 18 count white Aida. It's going to be full coverage, obviously, so I didn't worry about what color it was. And there are a bunch of us stitching this. We have hashtag Stitch All the Butterflies. Karen stitching Owl, which I mentioned already. Mary from Mary Stitching Corner is stitching it. Karen D from Twitchy Stitcher is stitching it. Amy from Renewing Stitches is stitching it, and Rachel Q is also. And many of us are stitching it differently, different shapes, whether kind of taking advantage of the hoop. A couple of us are doing it the full square, and stitching out Karen, you got to go watch hers. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it looks really cool. It's really coming together. So lots of different variations. The colors obviously are all the same. We're all doing it as charted in that sense, as far as I know, but we are changing up the shape. So it's really kind of cool for you to see what you could do with some of these things, especially if you said, I'm really interested in trying a full coverage piece, but I really don't want to do a large full coverage piece. This one, I don't have, this is just a picture. I don't have the stitch count with me, but I mean, it's not humongous. You could see on 18 count. Let me bring it back out again for a second here. It's not super wide. I mean, that's the width of it. And so, I mean, that's certainly going to, I'll probably scrapbook these, to be honest with you. That's going to fit easily. Gosh, I don't even know. It might fit in 8.5 by 11. I don't know. I have to pull out the ruler, but certainly easily in a 12 by 12. And this, it's a square. So the same, I'm halfway through here. So you're talking about maybe there. Perfect kind of choice if you like a, you know, kind of a pretty one. It's got a decent number of colors, but it doesn't have a lot of confetti, which is always kind of what is sometimes the most frustrating with the full coverages. My very last piece, I was thinking about it when I was making my notes, was that this one also could have been listed as a peaceful stitch, or a stitch you find peaceful. I actually find this one very, very relaxing. I bought the digital version. It's the Hummingbirds. Gosh, I don't know if that's the original, the full name or not. Boomerang Stitches. This was released at the Spring Mingle, and I bought it immediately. I loved the colors. I loved the look of it. And like I said, I got digital. It did go right into Pattern Keeper. And I just really enjoy stitching this one. There's something I find very soothing about it. And I thought, a really pretty blue to put it on, kind of make it look like it's outdoors against the sky. This is 18 count Patience from Millennial Fabrics. And I did some of, I wanted to bring in some of the purples. So I did some of that. I think this last one, I haven't finished the purples. And then obviously these purple flowers get bigger and bigger down the side, whereas the pink flowers will start getting smaller and smaller down this side. And then because I had that, and I was super excited to do some more of the hummingbird, which is why I abandoned the flower, and I got all of that kind of wing going as well. There's the next part of this wing here is a lighter color, which is why it kind of looks kind of funny there. But I believe that color is finished and will be going to the next section there. And we'll have this beautiful hummingbird, and then there'll be another beautiful one down here as well. But really, a really lovely, kind of relaxing stitch. Again, obviously with the wings, if I show you here, there's going to be, whoops, some extra counting and the like, right? I mean, let me make that bigger. You can see the beautiful design on the wings. But it still makes sense and it's in a pattern. So I think it'll go pretty easily. And obviously other parts of it are just blocks. So it's just a very relaxing kind of pretty colored stitch. So she designed a wonderful, wonderful chart here. At this point, I would assume it's not available yet. I don't know how long after Spring Mingle it would take before it's available. But if you like hummingbirds and a nice relaxing stitch, I really would recommend this one. So that's it. Those are all of my pieces. Look at that. I'm a little faster than normal today. I know you're saying, Laura, it's already 50 minutes. So how is that fast? But it is, trust me. All right. So that is my stitching that I've done this week. I really enjoyed what I did. I have some plans for next week. Some is always up in the air, right? I always give myself, I stitch, unless there's specific games or challenges that would generally have me stitch more. I stitch on approximately 12 pieces, 10, 12, 13 pieces a week. It's just the way it falls. And I try to give them at least 300 stitches. Sometimes with the challenges and things, that doesn't happen. Or I'm finding here with the summer now, my numbers are a little bit less. But you'll always get at least 200 stitches on something. If it's under that, I probably wouldn't show it to you. Unless maybe it was a start that I was super excited about and I just didn't get to it yet. But I'm really enjoying mixing them around. As I talked about with you last week, I am enjoying stitching on whatever I want to stitch on. And if that means some pieces don't see work this year, that's fine. They'll see work when they see work. And I'm trying to pull in some of the older pieces as I feel like it, or as it hits a challenge. And I'm really like excited about finishing Christmastown, but at the same time, I'm not stressed about, oh my gosh, it's 5 years old, it has to get finished. Nothing's going to happen if it's not finished till 2026 instead of 2025. So I'm really just kind of really enjoying that. There is starting in today through, I think it's a 3 or 4 day event on Whip Warriors, which is a closed Facebook group, but generally opens in November for like 6 weeks, 6-ish weeks on Facebook. And it's a participation required sort of mandatory group. But like this week now, with these 2 extra finishes plus fish and chips, that's 3 finishes. That might give me my what I needed for the month right there. But I think it's a Christmas in June event, because technically June is 6 months. The 25th of June is 6 months from Christmas, as opposed to July, which is already now, we're less than 6 months. So I heard that mentioned on Whip Warriors, and I was like, oh yeah, I never even really realized it, because we all just do Christmas in July, thinking that's halfway to Christmas. But really, technically, we are 5 days from now halfway to Christmas. So that, I think I want to pull out, I am going to pull out one of my older pieces. In fact, where's my iPad? I can show you. This is one of those cases where it's perfect. I'll pull out, let me see, I can tell you, it's my 3rd oldest piece, because it's the 3rd picture here in the chart, and it is Christmas Eve from Prairie Schooler. And I mean, this event won't get a finish on it or anything, but it'll get it farther along. So I know I want to do that. And then what else is going on? Okay, so the 23rd of each month, I do my pumpkin stitching, because in October we have pumpkin birthday stitch Sal, right? Pumpkin birthday Sal. And so every 23rd of the month, each month, I try to do some pumpkin stitching. So I'm going to pull out something, 1 or 2 pieces for that. And then there is the 25th. That is next Wednesday. We'll see. We'll see. If I don't get any Christmas stitching, then I might do some the following weekend. And then, I mean, in July, I'll probably still do Christmas in July kind of stitching, to be perfectly honest with you. So that is also probably on the table. Maybe I'll try to stitch or touch every single one of my Christmas pieces at least once in July, and I don't have that many, to be honest with you. I don't do a lot of large Christmas pieces. I do more maybe small ornamenty sort of things. maybe I'll start a little ornament or something too. And then I am super excited because I've been talking about this for what, a month? I know you're tired of hearing about it, but I get to start my strawberry goose witch. I'm starting on the 24th. So that's next Tuesday from Fine Frog Stitching. So I am very, very excited about that one. And then we'll see what the challenge is, like what letters I have left, or I think for prompts, I know I have letter U, but I think I want to do Mary Poppins with umbrella. That might not be, Summer Quaker is up. So then Mary Poppins would be right at the end of the month. So that one might be finished right at the end. And I still have to do my dad joke. Oh, and I do have to do my scallop stitch. And I know what I picked for that. I'm going to make myself do something I just want to get finished at this point. So some of that may happen next week. Some of it may get put to the end of the month for those last few days, because next Friday is still the 27th. So I'd still have some of June left after that. So lots of plans. I do not plan on doing a mid-year whip parade. I mean, if you watch me, you know what I've started. You know what I've finished. I've worked on some projects a lot and some not at all. And I don't know. I don't know how to make that interesting. But what I was thinking of doing is I might revisit my notes from the January, the beginning of the year whip parade, and look to see what I had said to myself. My goal is to try, my suggestion is to try to get a finish. And I might pull those out, show you those, and then maybe go through what I would possibly like to start for the rest of the year and see if anybody wants to start those with me. So that's a thought, that I might do that at some point in July, kind of like reset the second half of the year. But I don't need to pull out everything. I just keep watching each week. You'll see it eventually. All right. So that is plans. We've gotten some trading cards in. Just a reminder that there is currently a trading card swap going on. You still have time to stitch. They're small, so you have time. The first week of July, if you could get it sent in. July 1st is kind of like our soft deadline. If it's a few days after that, you know, because you'd like to maybe go through the weekend or something or other because you're busy during the week or whatever. I get it. That's fine. We're doing 2 of the 4 elements of nature. And so we're doing air and water right now as the themes. However you interpret either one of them, it doesn't have to be both in the piece. But I did get in. I found I am going to continue to do this so that you know once you've shipped them to me when they've gotten to me. Jan M. Jan, I got yours. Thank you very much. Very cool. Laura K, I got yours. Thank you. And Josie M, I got yours. So yours has come in as well. So those are the 3 that I have since gotten since last week. Yay! I'm having so much fun. It's like Christmas morning, opening up each envelope and seeing what all of you created. It is my... When the cards start coming in, it's my absolute favorite time to look at the mail. And it's really a surprise each and every time I open them. It's a joy. So thank you for anyone who's participating. I think I've gotten back to everybody who's asked for the address to send it. If I didn't, I don't know. I lose stuff on, I don't know how I do it, but both on Instagram, Gmail, and on Facebook, I don't know. I miss emails and I don't know how I do it. And then I try to go back and then say, oh my gosh, I've totally missed something. So I think I'm in line to go back and start looking to see if I've seen anything. But feel free, if you, especially, you know, it's time sensitive. You need the address within the next couple of weeks. If I haven't sent it to you, you know, reach out. I think I've gotten them all, but I'm not going to guarantee I have. All right. So that was the fun, happy mail. For shopping, I ended up actually getting both of my fabric of the months. I've dropped Under the Sea fabrics. I'm dropping down to just 2. I just had to, you know, you have to make a decision sometimes, right? On spending, and Leslie's fabrics are gorgeous, and hopefully maybe at some point I can jump back in, but I had to make a decision, and I decided to stay with Brandy and Stephanie, Bestitchme and Fabrics by Stephanie. So you'll only be seeing 2 from here on out at the moment. If you do not want to see them when I get to them, right before I show, I'll tell you which one it is, and then you can look away if you don't want to see. I'll start with Stephanie, because Stephanie's always come this time of the month. It's usually the beginning of the month that Stephanie's come. Sometimes they are brand new colors. Sometimes they are colors within that she's already got in her line, and she Sends them, which is fine because I like pretty much everything Stephanie does. You know, one of my all-time favorites ever is Nantucket Sky, which is a Fabrics by Stephanie piece. So look away if you do not want to see. And you know what? I'm not going to say the name. I'm just going to show it up to you because I think this is part of her regular line. But I'm going to show you the name, then I'm going to show you the entire color because it's gorgeous. So look away if you don't want to see. So that's what it's called. I get 18 count. I don't think there's any designation as to like colors or neutrals. You just get what you get. And I never get upset with hers. Look at this. How beautiful is that? I just think it's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. So I can't wait to decide what to stitch on that one. All right, I've put that one down. So if you want to look back, you can. Now, Bestitchme, I think I saw on social media that Brandy might be going on vacation because Bestitchme generally sends her fabric of the month closer to usually the last week of the month is when she sends them. And so you get them right at the end of the month. But this one came amazingly very early. And it's labeled the June fabric of the month, but I think she's going away. So that would make sense that she got it all done early. I am in this one. You can do neutrals or colors. I am in the colors versus the neutrals. If you don't want to see, please look away. I also get 18. I'm showing it now. I also get 18 count. That's what it's called. And let me open it up to show you this one. Another gorgeous, gorgeous piece of fabric. Look at that. I don't think it's not even doing it justice. It's washing it out a little bit, but it's very pretty. All right, I've put it down if you want to look back. You might have already gotten it at this point because, like I said, she's sent them out pretty early. I might have gotten this one, I don't know if it was last week, the afternoon after I filmed. I don't remember, but early. I was kind of surprised when I was like, what did I get from Bestitchme? I've been getting because of Friday Night Fight Night and all that stuff, but I was kind of like, I wonder what that is. So that's the shopping. That's all I have. I have the Love Poppet. I've been looking at Love Poppet and trying to decide. I mean, I really like that octopus, but I'm like, do I want any more? She has a video out and she showed some that I think they're coming off of her Patreon and she's offering them to everybody soon-ish. So I'm kind of waiting to see what gets released to her Etsy shop. So we'll see. There may be some digital patterns that I pick up in the future. We will see on that one. So that's it. That's all my stitching. So if that's all you're here for, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you more than you may even know. I'm so thrilled that you take some time with me. All right, so we're just going to move right into life. Life's, it's quiet. It's kind of a quiet season in life right now, which is great. It's busier in the sense that it's nicer. So we are trying to get out a bit more and I am physically able to do a bit more. I mean, I'm not running marathons like Andrew. I'm not even running a mile like Andrew, but I am at least able to get up and go somewhere without having to use a cane or to be in extreme pain, kind of thing. So that's positive, which means I am getting a little bit less stitching in, but that's okay, right? We ebb and flow. There's nothing that says you have to get a certain amount done ever. It was not great over the weekend, but it has gotten very warm here. Yesterday, our heat indexes did hit over 100. So it felt over 100. In fact, I can see a new neighbor that just moved in. I haven't met them yet. They're down the street. He's kind of a weather kind of aficionado. He likes doing weather stuff, and he has a weather station set up so that you can look online. So I can tell you right now, in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, it is currently at, I don't even know what time it is, 10:30 on Friday morning, 79 degrees, 79.2 degrees. It is very sunny. There's not a cloud in the sky. I don't know what our high is supposed to be. Yesterday, it shows me yesterday's high was 96.3, and that was before then you add all of the dew points were way in the 70s. So it was really warm. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We had threats of thunderstorms last night. We lucked out. We got probably about 10 minutes of just a deluge of rain. Mo last night, our neighborhood does kind of like a cornhole sort of tournament, and the first evening of the playoffs was last night. So Mo did have to play. Mo and had just one game because the way they were ranked, they didn't have to play the first game of the playoffs. They just played the winner of whoever played the first. And they did win. And they got it in, Mo said, right before it really started to pour. Only one team was still playing that had to be decided. I think it was in the third match, the tiebreaker match. And they had to stop it because of the weather. So luckily it all got in. So we had that pouring rain, and we did have a little bit of rumbles of thunder and a little bit of lightning. And then maybe a couple hours later, it stopped raining. We had a flash of lightning. I didn't think much of it because we hadn't had anything else. And then the loudest, I swear the thunder cracked right above my head. I jumped 10 feet. This crack of thunder was so loud. And then it just kept rumbling and rumbling. I thought, oh boy, what's coming? And then that was it. Everything was gone. So just wanted to make itself heard. But I do think some areas might have gotten much heavier rain, a bit of flooding, and I think trees were down. So hopefully if you are watching and you're in northern Delaware, I hope everything was okay over there. Or Maryland, or I mean, there was a bunch of different places. Maryland might have had some really, really bad parts of it. So I hope you're okay. But I think we're in a stretch now of just warm weather. Lots of sun. We've been out of a drought for a while. Our June levels of rain, we've had the first 10 days of June, we had more than what's an average, more rain than you normally get in the month. So we're doing okay. So I know the weather guy, he said, we're probably going to be dry for a while, but we should be okay. And then we'll see, right? Then all of a sudden it's flipped and we're in a drought again. I can't keep track of it all. Yeah, well, probably weather-wise, I'm hoping to be able to hit the beach this Sunday morning with our bowls, which is always really nice. We get in, we kind of relax for a while before the crowds come, and then we book it out of there and, get out. But I don't know what else is planned, type of thing. TV, Mo and I have finished watching Top Chef Canada. I don't think I said that last week. I don't think we had finished. If you're a Top Chef fan, another good season, I thought. Everybody is so likable. So, I'm not giving anything away. Don't worry. But the top, actually, I don't know of anybody that I would have said, "Ooh, I don't like them." I don't remember. Maybe some of the earlier ones, but I don't think so. Everybody just seemed so darn nice. And by the end, if any of them could have won and I would have been happy, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of rooting for all of them. But I really enjoyed that one. So if you are a Top Chef fan and you haven't watched it, I would say I thought it was another good season. I think Kristen has come in as the host, and she's done a fabulous job taking over. Last season was the first time, and I think she's doing great. Then Mo and I are now currently watching the final season of Bosch. I think it's technically Bosch Legacy, because the original Bosch obviously ended. And we're halfway through, and I'm not even going to say anything, but if you've watched it, we are halfway through, and that last minute shocker of a scene happened, and I didn't see that one coming in the least, and I have no idea what's happening for the rest of the season. So I think that was it. I was really, really, I didn't watch a lot. Most of your floss tubes I have not watched this week. Last night I got in Andrew's and Charlie's, but I am still way behind because I got stuck in an audiobook. So that's the last thing I want to talk about. Where is it? Let me show you the picture of the cover as I'm talking about it. It is called, and this is I don't know if this is a brand new author. This is a first book in the series at the very least. The Serpent and the Wolf, and it is by Rebecca Robinson. So I would say I would give it, I was really invested in it. Let's first put it that way. And I did the audio on Libby. I don't remember where I saw this title. I remember seeing somebody said, "Oh, this was a good book," and I went to Libby, put it on hold, kind of thing. The reader, the audio, she did very good. When she first did the main male character's voice, I was kind of like, "Ooh, I don't know about this," but as you warmed into it, you understood the accent and how she was doing his voice. So in the end, I really liked her narration. So if you like to listen, I enjoyed it, and I'm kind of picky sometimes with that. Like I said, I'd probably give this book maybe, I don't know if I said it in my head or if I said it out loud, 3.5, 4 stars. Now, what's going to be my big beef? And this has obviously got to be a thing, because when I talked to you about Shield of Sparrows, the same exact thing happened. The end of the book I don't like I don't like this new kind of way they're ending books. You are literally in the middle of like a plot, right? And they just end the book. Like literally just end it. And you're kind of like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean this is where it ends, kind of thing? I mean, some things kind of wrapped up, but there are so much open-ended, and so if you read it, you'll know. And obviously, they're getting you to read the next whenever the next book comes out, right? But I don't like that. I mean, before, okay, if you had books that were going to be more than one, yeah, there'd be some kind of maybe open, but they would wrap up the general plot in the first one. And then you'd say, okay, we've got some sort of completion. Now we're going to move on to the second one when it comes out. This is the second book in a row now where it's like there is nothing settled, decided, whatever. We are stopping like literally almost mid-scene, it feels like. And then you're just going to have to wait 2 years to see the rest of it. So that is my big beef, but I'm not sure that that's not going to be something that is not going forward going to happen with all of these kind of fantasy books that I read, because it is apparently the thing. Other than that, you know, you've got so you've got the female character Vasa and the male character Reed. She is because of political reasons, her family arranges a marriage with her to Reed. There is some like enemies to lovers sort of kind of plot line to it. This would be considered, I guess, a slow burn. Language wise, I did not notice. Now I am stitching when I'm doing this, so maybe I didn't hear, but the language was, I don't think there was much salty language at all, to be perfectly honest with you. Maybe once or twice. But as far as I was paying attention, hearing, unless I missed stuff while I was involved stitching, I didn't hear much. So language-wise, if that is something that concerns you, I didn't find it particularly salty. Spicy-wise, there are 2 spicy scenes. Yeah, I would say, and that's about it with that one. So again, depending on whether or not you mind reading books with that or not, that is what's there. There is, what I found really fascinating was they had a good kind of cool political intrigue sort of. She was, Vasa was, the way she was raised, her father was raising her to be like a political ally because he was the head of an empire sort of thing. And then the brother took over. So she's very smart with all of the things that different empires and parts of empires and leaders and all of that. She's very smart about that, and she understands that part. As usual, she is emotionally immature. It feels like they always make the female character emotionally immature. And she has some growth to go there, but I suppose don't we all have growth at every point in our lives? So that partially, sometimes I was kind of like, oh, come on. All right, but whatever. But I particularly liked the political. There is witchcraft involved as well. Different of one of the empires, different kind of, say, city-states of the empire have different covens. It's not a huge portion of like all of the others, but it is a huge portion of Vasa's character. So again, if that's something you don't care for, then I would say skip it. But it was definitely her journey with that was really interesting as well as, you know, the political kind of stuff of it. So overall, I would say I enjoyed it. I was let down by how abrupt the ending was. I will read the second book because I would like to see where the story goes. I liked the characterization of the main male character. And then some of the extra characters were also kind of fun. The ending, there was heavy action at the ending, almost too much. And I don't know, it felt like it just kept there, you know, okay, we've had this, and then, okay, we take a break. And then all of a sudden there's this ton of action, and then, all right, and then ton more. It was almost kind of like, well, I'm going to make up for abruptly ending the book by giving you a bunch of action scenes. But so we might have been able to take a little bit of that out and maybe wrapped up the story a little bit better. But, you know, overall, I would say I would probably take the book out from the library and read it right before the next one comes out, or as the next one comes out, I'd like to do the physical reading of it the next time around, and I would read the second book for what it's worth. So that's it. I think next up on my plate is going to be the third Thursday Murder Club book, Richard Osman, and I'm so excited with that one. And that will be a complete different palette cleanser from what I just read. So that's about it. I don't have much else really going on. I think we're going out to dinner tonight. Woo! But other than that, not much. So I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. Thank you so much if you are still here listening to all of my rambles with all of that. As always, please remember that you are important. You matter very much so. And I never want you to forget that. Each and every one of us is beautiful and special in our own way. And each and every one of us is important and matters. So until next time, happy stitching.